What up YouTube, this is Nate from BFG Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at the variant Playarts number 2 Dragoon limited color version. Ooh.
Beat time. Beat time.
Okay, before we get started on this review, let me preface it by saying I'm going to be biased as hell. If you know me from my previous life on YouTube, well, not my previous life, I still am on Thrift Dweller, it's my other blog channel. I'm a big retro video game collector. One of my favorite games of all time is Final Fantasy II in North America, which is Final Fantasy IV back in Japan. One of the main characters, his name is Kane, he's actually one of my favorite characters in the game. He's a Dragoon. So if I go a little geek heavy in here, I'm apologizing ahead of time. Final Fantasy Variant Playarts action figure Kai series. This is number 2 of 3. The first one is the Hero of Light, and the third one is Bahamut. This is number 2 in the middle. Beautiful. It's a limited edition version. I opted to go for this as opposed to the regular one just because this version has blonde hair. Like I said, my favorite game, Final Fantasy II, Kane, the Dragoon captain, has blonde hair as opposed to white, which came on the standard one. The MSRP on this one is $130, but as you can see, this one I paid $160 for. It's your standard window box display. So before you buy it, make sure you do a little bit of a quality control check just to see if you can notice anything obvious. Obviously, you're not going to know until you really get in there, but man, this figure hits all my G-spots. So it looks like you get a lot of stuff. We're going to be opening that in a minute. Over there, you got a little bit about the history of the Dragoon. There you go. The art kind of continues on to the side and to the back. Words and stuff that I can't read except for the little caution. And nothing really special inside. The top, you just get that. And the bottom, let's open this sucker up. I always open my boxes from the bottom. Nice. So we'll put this aside for the moment. You get that standard play art. They call this a stage. Personally, I don't like the display. I think it looks really bad. As people always recommend, read the instructions. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the Variant Playarts Dragoon figure standing in all his glory. First thing I wanted to point out, he's standing on the Variant Playarts figure stand that comes pretty much standard with every Playarts figure nowadays. A very basic stand, nothing too impressive. You can adjust it if you like, just a little bit like that. I'm sure if you play around with it a little bit, you can get him to stand in more dynamic poses. There's a little claw there to hold your figure, but more often than not, you're going to get this stance for your figure. We'll go into detail in a little bit, but first off, all the accessories. He comes with the trademark Dragoon lance. I guess it's a lance or a spear, however you want to call it. The Dragoon comes with his own trademark sword, again matching his color scheme. You know, nice little detail there, how it's dark and it kind of fades into that gray. Little peg hole system there that attaches to the figure. I'll show you that in a little bit. Comes with this piece, I'll have to explain as well a little bit later. And 2 replacement hands. But yes, overall I'm very happy with the figure. I think it's a nice representation of a Dragoon. Show you a little bit from the side there. Lots of meticulous work here. A lot of layers, which I think is really cool. Looks like the Dragoon is wearing multiple layers of armor, which is really nice. Lots of meticulous paintwork, especially you can see here in the back. Like there's that silver accent piece. Somebody actually had to paint that, or something had to paint it. And there as well, dividing all the different plates of armor, like gold accents on the side. I like the color scheme for sure. I'm very happy I went with this color version as opposed to the standard one, which is a lot more purple compared to this one. And the main reason I got this one because of the blonde hair. I'm such a superficial geek. Actually, now that I look at it, he looks like Shredder. A little bit closer up, I'll show you a little bit more detail here in the face. A very standard looking face. I mean, it works for the figure. I like the little mask they put underneath, almost like Captain Falcon from F-Zero. And again, all the armor work looks really cool. Looks like he's coming off the tail end of a jet or something like that. The paint application overall is really nice. There's a couple areas that I noticed that were like manufactured defects right there. Crotch shot, but the way they apply the paint is really cool. Like I was talking about paint tricks earlier. See here, to make it appear like it's obviously it's not metal, but to make it look like metal, they started with a gold and it faded into like a dark blue there, which I think is really cool. I do appreciate the fact that he's multiple shades of purple, a lot more purple compared to this part here, which is almost like a cobalt blue. It mixes very well with this like darkish gray black here and this bronzy gold color. I'm going to refer to Dragoon as Kane. Kane has a really nice color scheme. The head does have chin tilt, separate point of articulation just above the neckline. You can do a bit of head tilting there. And underneath, just where the neck meets the shoulder part, there's another ball joint there, so you get a lot of 360 action happening like that. More often than not, he's going to be looking down like that. I think all Dragoons are tortured souls for whatever reason. Get lots of armor work, which I think is really nice. And in the back, another example of the layering. It looks like he has multiple layers of armor, which I think is really cool. I really love this bronze color. I'm digging that. In the back, you can see the articulation in the shoulder. He has like a slight butterfly hinge. One thing I did notice is the armor kind of gets in the way sometimes when you're trying to manipulate and pose the figure, which, you know, it wasn't too big a deal for me. The hair actually came separately. You just pop it on the top there, and it kind of acts like another point of articulation. So the arm has articulation like that. Ball joint hidden inside the armor. I don't know if it's like a cheat. One of the ways I like to judge how well a action figure's design is how well they hide all the hinges and everything. And the variant Playarts series, they really do put a lot of armor on these figures, and it's a great way to hide all the articulation points for sure. You can kind of see right inside there, there's a ball joint for the elbow with a little bit of ratchet action happening like that. And the wrist itself has a ball joint, slight ratchet movement as well. Look at that, like Shredder. Just wanted to show a lot more detail in the hands. I don't think he's suffering from Reynolds, but he has purple nail polish, which is fine. I'm kind of digging that anyways. Really easy peg hole system. Take off that hand, and you can put one of the replacement hands on. Are you flashing gang signs? Obviously, these hands are meant to hold the weapons for the Dragoon. I found it really hard to actually get the weapons into the Dragoon's hands. I actually have to take off the hands and then put the weapon on, and then put the hand on the figure. A lot of detail here you can really see, especially in the mid. I guess some people call it ab crunch. You get upper torso articulation like that. Digging that. Very looky. You can make him look very dynamic. I like how long and lean he can look. And there's a ball joint just behind the floating pelvis here. You know, you can get a lot of this action happening like that. Interestingly, another point of articulation right here at the tail end of his armor. Eat your heart out, Van Damme. Again, really good way to emphasize movement in the Dragoon. Just to show you the level of detail in these Playarts figures, he has like a little rope thing, almost like Batman, how he holds his armor on. And like they put texture in that strap that holds, that I guess is supposed to hold this side part on there. They put texture in it, which is really cool, and I appreciate things like that. On the side of his hip there, he has a big gaping hole, and that's for the sword there. Like I said, a little peg system. There you go, it stays nicely like that. However, if you don't want the sword there was this little piece. It took me forever to figure out what it was. I thought it came off of a transformer, to be honest. I guess it's just to clean it up nicely. If you don't want his sword on his side there you go. To show points of articulation in the leg, I like how they sculpted this kneecap to cover up that hinge there. Double jointed in the knee. You get that action happening. There's two joints there. Actually, you can see it better in the back here. You can see the joint better there in the back. The all-important Shartimus Prime ankle pivot. How you gonna be dancing fool with no ankle pivot? And he also has toe articulation. One thing I did find one problem I did find with the design of this figure, his feet are so tiny and he has heels. To make him stand on his own is nearly impossible. More of a fashion before function thing, I guess. Look at that, lots of detail work there in the foot and the calf. Really nice looking figure. Like I said, I had to take the hand off to put the weapon in his hand. It's really hard to put it on while it's on him, so I suggest doing that. Nice stance, buddy. Let's make him look cool. So overall, I'm very happy with this figure as a Final Fantasy fan. The only downside I found to this figure is the standard Playarts figure nowadays is about $99 USD. But I mean, you're paying for all this meticulous work here, and it ain't too shabby. Love the armor work. Very nice articulation points. You can get some really kick-ass poses out of it. A very well designed action figure, very meticulous in the details. I love the layers. I love the armor work. Both as a Final Fantasy fan and just an appreciator of action figures, this is a really good figure, and I'm happy to add it to the collection. Now, for those people looking to get into action figures, mostly speaking to my video game friends out there, take a look at Variant Playarts series by Square Enix Merchandising. They have a lot of video game licenses, not only Square Enix, they also are doing the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain series. Again, if you like what you see, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, please comment, share with your friends. Very much appreciated. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for the positive response so far on the BFG review. This is Nate. Peace.